Okay, hello everybody. I should be live. Welcome. Today we're doing a feedback stream. So I'm going to be sitting here and I'm going to have the analyzers open that I have here. And I'm going to listen to your tracks and give feedback on the tracks and see if there's any improvements, that kind of thing. I'm hoping for nice diversity in the kind of types of feedback that I had to give. The last time it was a lot about cleaning kick and bases and stuff like that, and I hope that we don't have the same issues every time. But obviously I cannot foresee that. Either way, what I'm going to do in the meantime, while we're waiting... Hello, little Daviest. How are you doing? While we're waiting for people to submit their track, which you can do by typing !feedback and then going into the feedback on stream channel in my Discord, and then you can submit for feedback right here. While we are waiting for that, we're going to be making some kick drums. But before we get into that, I quickly want to ask you guys for a favor. Because I've been doing some graphical enhancements lately. The very first thing that I did was I updated the website. You can read all about that here in this general forum post. You can see all of the things that I did to it. And I'm basically looking for information on, as you can see here, how it looks on different devices. If you guys can all go there and just quickly look at the website, maybe give me some feedback on the website, some things that I can change. The second thing that you can give me feedback on is in the feedback channel right now. That's my new thumbnails. As you can see, I'm working on the new thumbnail design for the videos and for the streams and for everything basically. So I'm looking at these 6 color schemes, and then I will be alternating between the different color schemes. Let me know what you think about this. Obviously the text and the background isn't finalized yet. I also need to make some changes to it because I need to make a few small adjustments here. So yeah, there's 2 things that I want to get your feedback on before I will be getting into giving you feedback. So that's the thumbnails that you can see here, as well as the website. And you don't have to do that now, but maybe after the stream I'll remind everybody at the end of the stream again to check it out. But for now, let's get into it. Let's see who's here. My Logify is here. Mine be. I'm doing... Zendo is here. Tronia. Z-Tronia. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Exclamation feedback should now work now that the bot is running. So you can get into the Discord and start posting your tracks. How about you, little Davis? I'm doing very well. I'm a little bit tired. I wanted to stream yesterday as well for the mix, finishing the mix that I started earlier in the week, but our landlord came over because we had issues with the water not flowing in the apartment. So I basically spent the whole afternoon with him, seeing why the water was turned off, and it turned out to be in the basement of the apartment complex. Somebody just had shut off our water for no reason. And there was like a broken faucet next to it. So we assumed that somebody broke the faucet, got scared, turned off all of the tubes in the basement, and then just forgot to turn ours on back when they saw which one actually turned off the faucet that was broken. So that happened. That's why yesterday afternoon I did not have the time to stream and work on the mix. I think, yeah, we still have no tracks submitted yet. Today is a feedback stream, ! Feedback, to get your track listened to by me. In the meantime, I'm going to work on some kicks. It is Gij in the Netherlands, right? What do you mean, what? Gij? I'm sorry, Klaus, I don't understand. I already have a kick laid out here. I want to transform this to C sharp, which is very low. Maybe I go D sharp for this D sharp one. I like that. We can work on the body now. Gij is pronounced hey. No, that's no. Gij mean it's like Old Dutch for he. Or no, for you. For the word you. Gij is Old Dutch, I think. I hope that everything is loud enough in the project. I want to turn my local volume up a little bit. Hello Hardwick, how are you doing? We need more likes than this, I agree. I fully agree. By the way, for everybody joining, I see we have 13 people in here now. If you want feedback on your tracks, !feedback, then you can submit to the queue. I'll quickly check again if there's anybody who posted. Yes, we have Zendo with a track. What I'll do is I'll wait for there to be like 3 or 4 tracks, and then we'll do them in a batch. Hello, Greedo. So that may mean that a few people need to wait a little bit longer for more submissions to roll in, but that way I don't have to constantly switch back and forth between what we're doing here with the kick drums every time a new track is posted. I think that will be a little bit more logical to work on it like that. This is the right serum, right? Yes. Yes, okay. Okay, now we can add our hat source here. So 34. I'm going for a very short one here. Something like that. I do quickly want to change the feeling of the curve here. Lazy kicks, right? Oh. Nice. Kick making is hard. It is very hard, yes. It's all about the details, right? I don't have the perfect setup, I would say. There's definitely better setups that you could have. But I think I'll be doing fine with these kick drums. Okay, let's apply some processing. I have the whole template set up, so that's of very big use. Need to quickly turn on this. You need good ears to make good kicks, yes. in general, you just need a lot of referencing with professionals. I think that's an important factor that a lot of people don't take into account. And I use analyzers as well, which is always helpful. This one on, this one off. Now get that one. Like that. This a little bit lower, I think. That sounds nice. We'll do the final cutting here. Let's quickly see how many submissions we have. We still only have one. If you want feedback on your track, !feedback to be led to the Discord server, and then you can go into feedback on stream right here, submit your tracks, and if we have a few tracks laying here, we will listen to the tracks and I'll be giving feedback on them and we'll be listening to them with the chat. And while you're in the Discord, please let me know what you think of my website that you can read all about here. This is the forum post for that, and then my thumbnails right here in the feedback section as well. Net Interspace, how are you doing? Iliam Irmanov, I'm very sorry for butchering that, but it's never going to work. Tronia, always serum for kick making? Yes, the way that I've set this up is that I have 100 serums here loaded and I'm switching between them. So I can essentially make 100 kick drums in here. You can see that I'm laying them out here. And what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to change the BPM and therefore export the kick drums at multiple BPMs. So that's, it just makes it easier to make a bunch of the same kick drums for different BPMs. I'll have to do very minimal checks to make sure that they work. I actually forgot to add a fade to this. It's like so. I will not be feedbacking today, just a spectator, have no sidetrans tracks to share, only chill ambient. I'm down for some chill ambient. If you want me to listen to some chill ambient, I'll listen to that as well. No issue for me, it doesn't have to be sidetrans. So this is 34. I can just go in here, 34. Do you use processing after you export the kick and use it in a track, or do you use it clean from here? I try to keep it as clean as possible. Any processing that you put on there is just going to, I mean, it might make it sound better, but you always have to deal with the phase issues from that. This way, I make my kicks so that they are in phase for the way that I like. So here you can see there's a zero crossing right at the grid line. So that's the way that I'd like to keep my kicks in phase, and that relationship will break if you apply filters to this. So I try to keep it as clean as possible. But if I need processing, then I need processing, and there's not really much that you can do. Okay. So the way that I do this is simply just copy over one of the baselines that I'm looking to make. Let's say that we're making something in E, and we'll loop this. We have our starter kick patch. This one is in E, so I want to go to D. Probably. Let's turn off the transient and the hat. I can go into patch 35 and make my new kick. Maybe want something like that with a strong transient on top. We go to 35 and we make a strong transient. My transient starter kit is set up a little bit strangely because it has this very fast envelope that I don't want necessarily. I can use this for the extra click that it brings. Something like that, maybe. That's why you should call me Psyder. Ah, I see. Nice. It's such tiny changes, but such hard work on the ears. Very interesting. Yeah, it's very detailed, because one of the things that you need to keep into account when making the body is that a small change in here with the pitch, wherever you make it, has ramifications down the line because you alter the phase later on, right? Because it pitches in a different manner. So the phase completely changes later on in the kick. So you can really change the way that the sub sits by kind of pitching it differently before the sub even plays. This is a very strong kind of kick sound. And I'll turn it off and we go into the processing. This project is getting very slow because it's not an efficient way to do things. But that's okay. Okay, let's go into here. It's already neatly on a zero crossing. Something like that, maybe. It's kind of a bit of a futuristic kind of sidetrend sound. Almost like Volcano on Mars. this kick is probably going to work better with higher BPMs. So I go to my samples. I can copy over the name of any file with an E, so that I don't have to change much. And then I just drag it in here. This is kick number 35. I'm hoping to get to like 50 kicks today in total for this project. Then the kicks are halfway done and I can render them out into different BPMs. I'm probably going to make, let's think about it, new folder 140, 141, they're going to be the same kicks every time, just with different exports or different BPMs essentially. I want 145, that's the BPM I use, 147, and I'll go 150. Any other BPMs I should take into account? I think this is it. Do I sell kickbacks? Yes, I have an old kickback on there now. That is a different kickback. So this is part of a drum spec that I'm currently making. But I have the quality kick spec, which includes 43 kick drums. Gives you an idea of the kick drums that are in there. They're also good, but these ones are a little bit better sounding. I'm getting 130 and 200 BPM. I mean, for the kind of sidetracks that I make, which these kicks really are meant for, there's not much more outside between 138 and 150, right? I mean, these kicks aren't going to work for 200 BPM or 130 BPM anyway. For that you need different pitch envelopes, and I'm not going to change the pitch envelope for every BPM. That's not going to happen. One pack and you're sorted for 43 tracks. That's a long time. Well, no, because I can just reuse the same kick. You're sorted for much more tracks. Many more tracks, I should say. $155 is the fastest you go these days. I can add a 155 to this. It's not much more work. Once I have all of the kick drums made, it's not going to be much work. I just leave this record once for the new BPM. Then I drag each segment over here and I just check if they're... how should I say that? I just check if they still work with the processing. And if they don't work, I can apply a single process that can put them back in phase. All of them, because I'm using the same phase relationship between each of them. So that's not going to be an issue. And then I can just make the final cut for each of them. Not needed because at 200 I don't think people who don't want the whole control do high tech anyway. I don't know. To be honest, the whole idea of people wanting to make kick drums so badly for each track really doesn't work for me. I'm gonna be completely honest, I'd much rather make all of my kicks in advance as samples and then import them. That way I have confirmation that they all sound good, right? Because they were made for the workflow that you work with. Like in my case, these are all made for my workflow. I'd much rather have that in advance than I can just choose between the keys and the tonality that I want, as opposed to having to make a kick drum every time I want to start a project. I don't like having to work on one sound for so long at the beginning of a project. Do we have more feedback yet? We still have no more submissions for the feedback. I do want to get started at some point because I don't want you guys to have to wait for so long for other feedback. So if you have a track that you want me to listen to, exclamation point feedback, and I will listen to it. I'll open up the analyzers and I will give my 2 cents on the track that you're working on. What would happen if you use a 145 BPM kick at 200 BPM, make it sound thin? Well, no. It would just work, but you would not have the phase relationship that I'm crafting here. So what I'm doing for each of these kicks is I'm making sure that at this grid point, right here, you can see there's a zero crossing on the file, right? That's where 0 dB is. And that means that for all of my kicks, I have the same process with getting it in phase alignment with my baseline. And therefore I can just switch between different kick drums, audition different kick drums, and they will always be in phase with the baseline once I make it in phase with the baseline. Also, if you already have a great kick, why not use it again? Exactly. If you already have good sounding sounds, then you can use it again. That's the whole idea of making them prior as well, is that you limit yourself to working with the kicks that you have, getting to know them, getting to know how they process and how they sound, and then you can make your baseline around it as well. Processing here as well and do some initial processing. It never works slower than 150. To be honest, for me the sweet spot is like 145. That's sounding nice. So now I'm doing the processing for sounding nice on here, and then I'll record it like so. And here I'll do any fixes that I need to make. So this is also where I look into the technical side of things, like this, right? I can see the transient is way too loud for the sub bass. So we can do a process to increase the power of the sub bass. I can also see that I need to phase align this forward, half a cycle-ish. I can align it like this, and then I can use the Q factor to boost the low end and get the low end in check with the transient. Punch out of it maybe. A bit more lower click. Obviously the kick is a little bit too loud for the bass line, but that's okay. Now we have our final kick drum here. I can add a little fade at the end. And then hopefully the transient isn't loud enough or isn't too loud. It does feel a little bit loud, so what I'm going to do on this one is use a clipper called Free Clip. That's just going to sit on the chain here. And then like 8 times oversampling should hopefully do the trick. Okay, now we have a new recording. And we can clean this up again. What Ableton Skin is this? This is Artifacts, I think. If I go look and feel. RFAL Dark Plus. If you Google that, then you'll find it. And then this is my Zoom display, and I have everything else set to just the standard theme. It's nice and dark. Do I have any psych or dark side compositions? No, I don't. Something for feedback. I just do a quick listen through to see if the export went correct, and then I'll upload. Perfect. Anybody else? Exclamation point feedback to get feedbacks on your track. If we have 3 or 4, I'll start doing a listening session. We already have 1, so we need like 3 more. Exclamation point feedback, you will be able to get into the Discord, hopefully to the right channel. This is now much better. I like this. This one is clean. This is number 36. I can find a work in progress. That's perfect. As long as it's not a remix and you hold all of the copyright, then there's no other issues for tracks. You can submit whatever you want. Okay, so we can look at our new key. What I usually do is I leave a few spaces between keys. I won't go A sharp again, but then I will, for example, go G sharp. Just to keep everything fresh, right? So we go F sharp for the G sharp key. I talked about my kick tuning in a video recently. If you have any questions on that, then check out that video. Bit more transient. Might go for like a very punchy kick drum here. I have a tune that's not trance. That's no problem. You can submit anything for feedback. I'll listen to any type of music. Actually, the only Asterix track I heard is Ada, which has actually introduced me to Asterix. Asterix is very, very nice. My favorite artist, I would say. Let's quickly have a look at our kick drum while we're here. Can have a little bit more punch in the bass, I guess. Yeah, that's perfect. Now all we need to do is rotate it phase-wise, which I can do in here. How do you submit the tune? You can go onto my Discord. Where do we share our songs? Exclamation point feedback to get all of the information. Exclamation point feedback. It should send a message to feedback streams every other Sunday. You can submit here and it should get you exactly to this channel here. The feedback on stream. And as I said, while you're there, while you're enjoying the Discord, you can give some feedback to me as well on my website in this post here, in the general forum. And if you want to look at my new thumbnails and want to give some feedback on that, those are here. I have 6 different templates for thumbnails that I'm going to switch between. I would love some feedback from you guys on this as well as the website. In exchange for my feedback, of course, in this channel here. Anyway, let's continue with kick drums. So here I want to phase rotate this, essentially. Right now, the zero crossing is going up. I'd like to have my zero crossing go down. I don't know if I did it for everyone, but from now on I'm trying to. I just essentially need to phase rotate this here. You can see adding the filter already did a little bit, but I can just move the filter up until the area that we get it. A little bit of a boost to restore the punch. Something like that. Nice oomphy kick, I would say. Obviously we need to fix it, make sure that it's nice and clean. You need to make the same thumbnails like Dash. It's smile including every time. Well, I don't want to. I want to have my unique own style of thumbnails. That's why I'm going on this whole endeavor with the thumbnails that I have here. This is not the correct spot for feedback. It should be here. Robot not human, I don't know who you are. You just joined the Discord server, but you're in the wrong place. This is for when I'm not streaming. If you want it on stream, then you should post it here, where Zendo is posting. I'm just... What does I'm okay, what does that mean? I just got confused by that message. I wanted to talk about the thumbnails. Yes, I'm looking to have my own style, right? So this is going to be like my style. I'm going to switch back and forth. So the first video will be this one, the second will be this one, and so on and so on, and then it loops back. So every time I post a new video, it will be the next color in the chain. And I'm hoping that through consistency, you will be able to see the chain kind of moving around, and every time the new color comes up, you can immediately see if it's the new video. I'm confused, I'll post on YouTube. Yeah, why are you posting here. There's a whole chat room on the YouTube side. Don't post your track here. This is not the right space. If you want the feedback on stream, then that's not the right place to do it. Either way, I want to quickly save this and then we'll get into some feedback on stream. I see that we're getting some different submissions. I okay, you okay. What does that mean? You're posting it in the wrong space. That's not okay. Unless you don't want the feedback to be on stream. But I'm not going to listen to the track now. If you leave it in here, then this is not for the stuff that's going to be on stream. This is going to be on stream. So if you want me to listen to your track right now on this live stream, then post it here and remove it from the other channel. Otherwise you can leave it there, but I'm not going to listen to it. Okay, I'm going to set up my analyzers. These are going to maybe crash. Soon you will be at 10K. Hopefully this year, if it continues my growth as it's going now, like linearly, if every month I get the same amount of subscribers that I'm getting like right now, then I'm just not going to make it to 10K at the end of the year. I'll be at like 9.4 or something like that, which is still a lot, but that's why I'm doing it. I'm hoping to get to 10K this year, at least. And I'm hoping the thumbnails are going to get more and more. I get about 300, 330, I think. I'm sorry guys, that's an issue I still need to fix. I'm going to write that down actually, so that I don't forget for the next time. Signalizer update. How many subs per month? Oh yeah, I did already answer that. Okay, so now we have it in the right spot. Perfect. Okay, Zendo with Technoid. Let's have a listen. Hopefully this is available. Right? Yes. I need to set inputs. Sorry guys. The analyzer is going a bit wild. This one isn't the best. Like so, right? Yes.
You come back to that game.
This is broken. Stereo analyzer. It's a very, very dark mix, actually. There's a lot of energy in here, which I would like to see shifted at around 10K mark. Get those nice aggressive hats on top.
For the right time.
It's very hard to hear what is going on with those vocals. And again, in terms of the mix, you're missing the extreme brightness that's often associated with psytrance. A nice gritty head on top. Scoop out some area here and bring in some drum loop with nice high end on top. It immediately continues the next track. There's a few things. I like the track. I like the production. Overall, it's a nice idea, nice concept. You have trouble with making your vocals understandable, both in the intro and the break. You have some issues with the brightness of your mix. And the last thing that I probably need to say is that you probably want to look at if your kick and bass is clean. I didn't want to check for it because it's the problem that I've talked about in the last feedback stream over and over again, and I don't want to repeat myself every single time. So for now we're just going to assume that that's all okay. And I'm not going to dig into it. But the main things that you need to do is you need to make sure that if you put vocals into your track, like spoken word vocals, that they are understandable for the listener. And the listener does not know what your vocals are saying. They have never heard your project before where the vocals can be soloed. So you need to make sure that they stand out from the mix. And the second thing is that you need to use a reference track for the spectrum of your mix. Somebody already said in chat that the mix sounds off. I agree. You have too many frequencies like in this area, and you need that extra hump in the high frequencies to get that gritty feeling, right? Psytrance is known, same kind of is true with techno, psytrance and house. All three are genres where the hi-hats and the crashes and the claps all have a lot of energy at around 10k, not so much at the lower frequencies here, and you had a lot of energy throughout your whole track in here and nothing in the top. So that means that your mix is sounding not bright enough for the genre that you're trying to produce. I'm a beginner, so I can't hear why the mix is off, but the overall composition of the track pleases me a lot. That's what I wanted to say as well. When I'm giving feedback, don't take it as a personal thing of like, I'm doing this and this and this wrong, because I am listening specifically for only the things that I would change. I'm not looking to compliment people, because then I would just be talking all over the tracks all the time. Because there's a lot of things that I like, and I can start to point out the things that you like, but I can just say, this is a lovely track, now let's look at a few points where I can think that you can improve it. And then hopefully we should all be mature enough to understand that I'm not trying to hurt your feelings by not saying positive stuff about your track. I'm just trying to keep it short as possible. And for most of you, when it comes to the tracks that you guys produce, if I were to talk about all of the positive points, we would be here for a long while. I'm just gonna be honest, right? There's a lot of talented producers in my Discord. We have another Sybient, we have then Written, Robot, we have Klaus with something coming in. So we are getting some tracks, so that's nice. Next up is Zendo again. This is a work in progress. So this does not have a name. Silent, work in progress, unmaster. Let's have a listen. Oh, also my stereo analyzer, as you can see, is now completely broken. I need to update Signalizer, which I've said many times. Same vocal mix problem. Make your vocals stand out. You have some elements with big modulations that take away from intelligibility of the vocals. drum bass does need to be cleaned up. That's all I say about it. Again, your hi-hats are now peaking up until this level. Get them up to like here. To get that nice, strong high end from your hi-hats. Your drum loops should have a bump at the top. That doesn't mean go up here or something, but just like a nice rounded up shape like that. You can lower around like 500 a little bit. You can lower around 4000-ish a little bit with an EQ. And then you get like a nice mountainous kind of spectrum. Overall, again, very nice production, very cool sound choice. I like it. I would love to hear some more different sounds in here. I think it's a very short example, so there's not a lot of space. But let's just move on to the next. Dance with the Devil by Henrhythm. Ooh. Right? Yes, Henrhythm. Dance with the Devil, work in progress. Sounds like some kind of techno. Very slow build up. At some point I would expect some bass in here. Here you can hear the kind of techno hats that we mean. You see these are brighter here than it's like down below. Very expensive sound design. Everything has little details and stuff like that. Have a little beat here. There's some spaces where I saw a little bit of a weird rumble on the kick. Like on the tail, but it looks very clean overall. That's a bit weird, is that the dumb thingy. I don't know. From that I can not understand what you actually mean. Or upper MIDI if it were my track. There's not a lot of progression in here. There's not much that pushes the track forward. Some risers, some build-ups, those kind of things. Just a synth that has a modulation that's rising up, maybe the whole track being high passed towards the end. The same is true for kind of the whole track. It feels like you're fairly static in terms of your production. For example, there you open up this one synth and then you just close it again, not going to a next step in the production. Here again. Riff 2 sounds very simple. Well, the sound design is definitely very, very complex, and there's a lot of attention to detail here. But the progression, yeah, it's very, very simple in terms of repetition. It's just repeating the same thing again with small changes and not really moving forward to a next step. Like this acid thing has been playing the whole drop now. You know what I mean? Also, welcome to the stream, by the way. Here, for example, I would at some point just remove that acid line. It's been going on for so long now. This whole last drop. This is a filler or carrier track. Yeah, this is definitely something that's there to fill up a live set with something simple so that people can like get a drink or something like that. But it's a very well produced track. So if you spend the time working on the transitions and making it more exciting, as people are saying, but mainly in my opinion, the flow of energy, making that less static, make it be more flowy in the way that you're writing, then that definitely benefits your track. We have a few more tracks being submitted. Next we have Robot Not Human with Bass Groove. This is Bass Groove by Not Human. Same kind of minimal track. I hope this is not your main kick. There was a little bit of bass there, but now the bass is gone again. You're missing your bass line. The most important part of the techno track, and you forgot about your rumble bass. You want your rumble bass to occupy like this space here and be long and drawn out and powerful. Now you have the punch from your kick and then you don't follow it up with anything. You have like one note in there, but that's just a synth that you forgot to filter out, I think. That's not actual rumble for the kick for every time. Again, overall the production is very nice, but you're just forgetting a main element, a very important element here. I actually really like the progression of this track here. I'm assuming at some point it just cuts out and goes to completely just a kick, maybe something like that, and then continues to build up again. Soundscape. It's very chaotic here. Now you can hear what happens if you don't have that balance, because right now none of your elements are mixed properly because you don't have a bass in there to balance against. The whole balance of this track is going to fall apart if you introduce the final element that you need. But the sound design is absolutely crazy in this track. Instead of hard panning that one element, you might want to look into half panning and then using a plugin like Panna. Hard panning is usually not a good idea. Now it gets a little bit too buzzy, a little bit too much going on. You can overdo the complexity. It's so hard to listen to what is going on because there's just too many things now. Very strong production, very long time that you spend on this, I think. But you have some fundamental issues in that you forgot to add the most important element of the track, it sounds like, which is your kick drum rumble if you're going for something like this, like techno-y, that kind of vibe. And because of that, you had a lot of space in your mix. If you wanted to fix your track and get the right tonal balance, what that's going to mean is you're going to add your rumble, and then you're going to see, hey, I'm losing a lot of space in the mix. And then you're going to find that you have a little bit too many elements in different parts of the track. You went a little bit crazy with this production in the sense that you overproduced it a little bit once you decided that your kick as you had it now was good enough. I would personally choose to dial a little back on the mid elements and the high elements a little bit. Separate them more. You can use all of the elements that are in the production now, but separate them a little bit more. Have them play in their own unique sections so that each section has like a main element and then all of the crazy percussive stuff and that kind of stuff that you're doing. And then throw a nice big bassy reverb rumble underneath it, and then you'll have like a real banger, I think. I don't like the fact that this does not have bass. It really sounds like a dance track to me, and it does not fulfill that purpose because it's just lacking the oomph that you want from your dance track. But I think you posted another one, yes. So we'll listen if the second one is any different. Hello Gabriel, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. We're doing feedback today. Here we have Rhea. How do you pronounce this? R-H-E-A. Rhea. Something like that. Pronunciation to be determined, but it's by Klaus. Klaus K is a common submitter to the channel. Has his own very unique style. Let's have a listen. This is not the Psytrance version of what Klaus is doing. I know how you spell it, I just don't know how to pronounce it. It's a Greek goddess. Interesting. I do like this vibe. I want to get into ambient music as well, so I can make background tracks for my videos. For the intro and the outro I can have a little bit of like a very low volume music underneath it. But without any drums, obviously. Very danceable even though there's no kick. I'm kind of like imagining the kick just being there, even though it's not. To be honest, you either need to go full in on the drums or lower the drums at least a little bit. Because it feels like there's a kick missing, to be honest, because you have kind of like the standard pattern for it. Right, you have the offbeat hi-hat and then your clap and then your offbeat hi-hat, and then you would have a kick, usually, to complete the pattern. But that's not here in this case. I would suggest in some segments, not in the whole track where you have the drums now, but in some segments you can make like a chorus part where there's a kick coming in, just doing like a nice 4 on the floor. Shut up. Just doing like a nice 4 on the floor kind of rhythm. Other than that, or the other thing that you could do is just completely remove the track, and then you get like a really nice ambient, because then you remove all of the rhythm, except for the melody, of course. It feels like you're a little bit struggling between the two decisions. Do I want to fully go for drums, or do I not want to go for drums at all? And then you kind of landed halfway in between, which feels a little bit undecisive. But other than that, there's nothing that I can say about this track. It is a very, very nice production. It's still not a bad production. As I said, if I go over all of the things that I like about the production, we will be here all day. So I'm just going to tackle the things that I might change if it was my production. Either way, we have another track by Robot Not Human. This is called Rave It Up Old School. I'm looking for some offbeat reverse bass line and a nice strong kick. That's what I'm hoping for. your main drums are slightly panned left. That's a bit of an odd choice. Your kick fill is not in rhythm with what you're doing. So that confused me a little bit. I'd love a bass line for the whole thing at some point. Because now it just kind of stops. And since the bass line is so stereo, it feels like you're just missing parts. Maybe that's safe on the track. Need something underneath to get it like harp or sweeping pad. To be honest, the amount of elements that sit in here I like. I think it's not stable sounding because that bass line stops so much. If you were to add more elements, you're just going to have a harder time mixing this. It's now a very simple mix. And therefore it's also a very well executed mix. Each element is prominently featured. But again, there's a strange choice of not having a full bass line here. I don't know what Robot Not Human's problem is, but he has a hatred for bass frequencies, I think. It sounds like it, at least. The last track had no bass at all. This one has its bass line randomly turning off every once in a while. Like, there isn't a bass line in here that doesn't follow the main melody. The rhythm of this track would be so much more powerful if that was the case. If you took your higher synth and just copied over the MIDI to your bass line, then you'd have an established kind of main rhythm for your track. That's also what you can use for your kick fills then, and for percussions as well. And then you get a very danceable track. It is indeed a bit odd, but in a good way. I do like this track very much. It could just have a lot more swing. Even though I'm already dancing. Right now I feel like the pad is kind of masking the main element here. I would turn down the pad a little bit in your mix. Or that ARP, whatever it was. There was another element in there that was a little bit dominant. Anyway, we should have more messages here. We have some more from Zendo, we have another one from Hardwick, we have Klaus K. With Aurora Australis. This is hopefully another ambient track. I think it will be, looking at the waveform. I have very big subs, maybe because of that I mix the bass / sub bass less. Okay, quickly. In here, it's not that you're mixing it less, the amount of bass is correct. It's just that you leave so many blank spaces that your bass line doesn't follow the... it doesn't follow the main pattern of your track. And usually your bass line is what you dance to, so you want to have that follow the main pattern of your track. But you establish this pattern with the synths that you have. Something like pam 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 pam. Something like that is it, right? It's something in that sphere. It's not going to be exact, but you'll get the message. And then your bass line is going pam pam, and then silent for 2 beats, and then pam pam again, right? So that it doesn't enforce the rhythm that you want people to dance to. And that's really what the bass line should be doing. That's its only goal, is to add, especially in this kind of swing, kind of old school kind of house, techno-ish kind of vibe. Usually in psytrance it's not the case, but in these techno and house specifically, your bass line is really what creates the swing and the dancing motion for people. And if you just have 2 or 3 beats out of every 4 beats where the bass line isn't playing, then people aren't really going to dance as much as if you had the bass line continuously playing. So that's what's important there. For the other track that you sent, there just was no bass to begin with. You just forgot the bass line. It's not like, oh, it's a little bit low, it's just not there. I'm gonna be that honest with you. We can look at it again here, bass groove. Right, anything below like 60 Hertz here, just nothing here. There should be a rumble here that continues on. Especially for techno, if you're going for a techno vibe, then you just should have a techno rumble. Anyway, back to Klaus's track. We'll start from the beginning. Aurora Australis. Another ambient track. Bit of a strong saturation, I thought I heard. Maybe that's like export problems or something. Almost like Interstellar kind of feeling. Really, really like it. So glad I found this channel. It's the first feedback I've got actually explains properly with no bias. Thank you. I'm not a fan of the very long sub bass on the kick. I'd much rather have it be like a punchier kick without the long sustained part. Sounds almost unnatural. Not everywhere, you can use it once in a while for an impact. Yeah, it's a movie score. Very, very good, very nice sounding. What I like most about this production is how well it fits with the profile picture that you chose out. I'm just going to show it here. This picture here, it's just the track in words explained into a picture. If you were to give this track to an AI, the track that you wrote here, and you say, make me an album cover for this track, this is what it would come up with. So I don't know if that was deliberately done, but this gives me a good time actually to talk about the theming of your track. When it comes to productions, if you want your production to stand out, you need to have like a clear goal of which story you want to tell. And clearly here with the ambiences, with the progression, a story is being told, right? Everybody's like, oh, this is movie music, it's sounding big, it's sounding like a big moment kind of thing, with all of the synths playing, with all of the arps playing underneath, building up kind of the energy below that. And that's kind of the feeling that you would get from looking at the Northern Lights that we see in the picture, right? This big, amazing thing that we can see, this natural phenomena which looks it looks huge, it moves around, it's looking crazy. You perfectly capture the idea that you want to give to your listener into sounds, melodies, and themes and progressions. And that's very, very powerful, and I think that's something that we can all learn from this production. Next up, what do we have? We have Future Synth Euphoria. Future Synth Euphoria. Again by Zendo. This is a Spotify link. I hope I can just play this. There's multiple tracks in here. I'm not going to listen to multiple tracks or just a full artist. If I click here, is it then just one? Okay, so it is one track.
Transcend reality.
It's like very slow trance. This is aggressively loud though. Look at this waveform. Again, this is lacking a little bit of grit in the high end. I can also see that this is an MP3 export, because at 17K it just bumps down like that. Don't export as MP3 before posting to something like Spotify. You can see what it does to your high end. Absolutely terrible. And Spotify's normal algorithm shouldn't remove that. This is an MP3 export. Also, you're missing a sub bass, my dude. Your bass is rumbling here, doing strange things. You would use a stable sub bass for that. I think this has too much mid-range. I'm going to say it like that because it's not bright enough, it doesn't have enough sub bass, and it does feel very in your face. We could see how loud it was on the oscilloscope. It was like pushed to the max all the way. Very, very compressed, almost distorting. And you are exporting as MP3, so you lose a lot of brightness from that as well. Is there anything else? But overall, again, it's the thing that I have to say here, again, a very, very solid production. You just don't spend the same time worrying about the mix and the master and the way that you export. The fact that you're exporting to MP3 and then uploading it instead of using like uncompressed files, it's not a good sign, because it usually means that you don't really care, right? Everybody knows that an MP3 file is going to remove quality from the track. We've all listened to old MP3 files, right? We all used to download stuff off of what's it called, LimeWire or whatever it was back 1.5 decades ago. And we would get those tracks that would sound like absolute garbage because they are MP3s. So I don't understand the choice of exporting as an MP3 file and then uploading it to streaming services and stuff like that. Because you know, streaming services, especially with such a loud master, are going to they're going to compress it once more. They're going to convert it into a different file type once more. So you're going to lose even more quality, which is made worse by the fact that this master is so extremely loud. So you're basically just completely messing up your high end doing that. It's much better to master a little bit quieter. You don't have to be this loud for this kind of music. You have a very slow kind of music, so you can be a little bit more dynamic. So you have a little bit more headroom. You don't have to master this extremely loud. And then you just export as a WAV file and send that to your distributor. Never export as an MP3 file. Always go with the highest possible quality, which is a WAV file. Rendering to WAV since 2015 all the time. Yes, exactly. Napster. Napster is the first one that did it. There you would get terrible MP3 files. I'm sure everybody that's older than 20, 25 will remember that, because that was huge back then. This is a track from the challenge. I followed your advice on going on an offbeat bass in the beginning. Side note, the last outro part is rushed. So I challenged myself to finish it this feedback stream 3 weeks. Okay, so this is Hard Twigs.
Far away.
A Tale of Two Suns and Two Moons. Let's have a listen.
And long ago, once there was another sun and another moon.
Now these are vocals that you can understand.
Different from the ones we see now.
This is good. offbeat theme is indeed being set up. Boom, 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 boom. Right? Bum, 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 bum. Offbeat. I think that sitar with the kick and bass is going to sound very, very nice.
Saul was the name of that sun, and Mani was the name of that moon. But always behind them, wolves went.
That's a very dark snare that you're going for. Again, we talked in this feedback session already about the bulb that you want in your high ends. That's missing a little bit. Could have a little bit more first harmonic on this bass line. Have your first harmonic come up a little bit higher, like here. Right, instead of it down below here, you go just above the level of the sub bass. Yeah, overall, up until this point, the rhythm of the track is very, very neat and very, very clean. Works all well together. So that's definitely an improvement already.
Then a new sun and a new moon appeared and went traveling through the heavens.
Again, I feel like whatever rhythms are happening work well together here. Definitely very danceable.
Traveling through the heavens.
Nice art there. If you ever go rolling bassline in some parts of this track, then you can have that arp on top of it. Because that actually goes to 16 notes.
No wolves,
if you delay it long enough.
And then the earth became green and beautiful again.
Very good use of higher bass notes to follow the melody. Very nice. And then there's a break and then there's still more.
And long ago, in a deep forest, a woman and a man wakened up. Leif was the woman's name, and Leifrasir was the man's. They moved through the world, and their children moved through the world.
Now we go into rolling. It's already being set up. Very well done. Nice. For this baseline, you do have a good first harmonic. The other one was a little bit too quiet.
Once there was another sun and another moon.
Again, lacking the aggressive, gritty brightness that we want from Psytrance top loops. You can boost that. You can have a curve that goes like that. Get your double curve going, like so.
And a new moon appeared and went traveling through the heavens.
And again, by the way, this is an MP3 export here. There's no information up top.
Long ago, in a deep forest,
Even in the drop, you place the vocals right there where the track kind of slows down the most so that the vocals become clear.
woman's name,
Very well done.
and Lefrasir was the man's. They moved through the world, and their children and their children's children made people for the new earth.
Must be SoundCloud I expected from before. Very strange. Does SoundCloud do that? Does SoundCloud compress your tracks to MP3 quality? Back into the instruments. Very nice. Nice. Good production. I don't know what that was. Alchemy's Mega Discord collab. Sure, why not? Great track. Nice production. I would say that the production stage right now is finished. You just need to worry about your mix, and there's a few things that I think I said. I said about the first harmonic of your first bass line. I said about the brightness of your track. If you need help with your mixes, then I'm always available. Yeah, you can hit me up if you need help, and then we can discuss that further if you want. I'm going to move on to the next track. Finished Psytrance track, not mastered yet, 144 BPM. Then how can you claim it's finished if it's not mastered? Just a technicality. It's probably mixed but not mastered, so let's have a listen. We have some more later. RMS. We have something by Bo. We have another one by Robot Not Human. Production wise finished. Okay.
Then the river of wind.
like 90% sure that this kick and bass is not going to be clean once the drop hits.
That's where society is now going to.
Yeah, kick and bass has some issues with the cleanliness. Make sure to resample. Now you can see what the hi-hat is meant to do. It's maybe even a little bit dark still. Could have a little bit more brightness from the hi-hats, but you can already see that there's a little bit of this hump here. That's what we're looking for. This one again has the cutout here, so I think that's just a SoundCloud thing. Nice change in the bass line. I'm not a fan of the clap. It's too dark. Needs that same brightness that you get from the hats. You have the same problem, or not the same, you have a problem with your vocals. Your vocals need to be on top in a mix. They need to be understandable. The listener doesn't know what the vocal is saying. You know because you soloed it in your project and you turned off the delay in your project and you heard it before it was processed. So you know exactly what the vocal is saying, but I have no idea. I can't understand. Also, the parts in the break where you have your low pass kick and bass are very, very loud. Louder than your actual drop. Which is not a good thing. You want to take away probably like 5 dB from there. So that when the drop hits, it actually adds some power. I kind of like it like that sometimes. But it's my preference for darker forest where something like that is wanted. I don't think you ever want to add vocals that you can deliberately not understand. Maybe they are processed to sound all strange and stuff like that, but it's usually still understandable. Like listening to pro tracks, that's almost always the case. I burnt my soy because of your stream. No, you burnt your soy because you were paying attention. That's not my fault. Now you're making it seem like it's my fault. If it sounds like a whisper you don't understand, yes you do. What if the vocal is supposed to be mysterious? Then you... No, then it's... The point of a vocal is to tell a story. And if you're going to do storytelling, you need to make sure that your vocal is understandable. So if it's supposed to be mysterious, then you need a vocal that talks about mysterious things. But you still want it to be understandable, so you can get the point across. Kick and bass mess there. Clean up your kick and bass. I really like this Fowley synth, by the way. These choirs as well. That's kind of nice. I have some vocals in mind, but I used it as some kind of Atmos. I'm specifically talking about spoken word vocals. The vocals that we heard in here in the breakdowns and in the intro. If you're going to have a spoken word, even if it's like mangled a bit and you're using granular synthesis and stuff like that, you want to make it them understandable so that the listener can hear either that they cannot hear the vocal, that they cannot understand the vocals. So here they are just too quiet. We cannot hear if he's actually saying something in English that we were able to understand, or if it's like vocal chops, something that makes no sense, right? So we're guessing. With spoken vocals, the whole idea of the element is that you give some information to the listener. Talk about the story that you're setting up with your sidetrance track. If you're mixing them too quietly, like in this case of this track, then the listener always has to guess. Is this a vocal that I should be listening to? Is it a vocal that I need to ignore for the other sounds that are clearly louder? It's just wrong in the mix. I'm gonna be completely honest here. There's not really a situation in which you want spoken vocals not to be the main element of a part of your track, and therefore you need to mix them as if they were the main element and if they were loud. Because that's the only goal. What did you say about in the beginning about the kick and bass? You need to clean your kick and bass. Resample and make sure that there's no filters afterwards. I have a video coming, maybe it's already out, the video on cleaning kick and bass. I don't think it is. Yeah, the next video that is coming out is cleaning kick and bass. It's the 22nd. What's also interesting is this is the cleanest possible sidetrance bass patch. Where I explained that bass patch is a fairly popular video that I recently put out, the 14th, on Valentine's Day, just because I love you guys. It's my Valentine's Day present, so that you're not left alone with your right hand or whatever. Whatever you want to interpret there. But the next video is going to talk about specifically cleaning up your kick and bass, because there are some issues that I hear a lot from different people with their tracks, that they just don't get a clean kick and bass. And it's not a necessity, it's not like the track is not working, but you guarantee that your track is going to translate well to other systems if you just clean up your kick and bass. And if you don't have it clean, then you cannot make that guarantee. Yeah, this stage of the track I did not export from MIDI. Yeah, no, don't do that. You should resample and then you should clean it up and then you should. This video goes over it in a very good way because it shows the one that's coming out the 22nd. It's going to show first what happens in the patch, then what happens in the processing, and then what's happening at the master level. So I'm going to show you 3 steps into the cleaning of the bass line. And each time you're going to say, oh, now we fixed the problem. Now it's going to be a clean kick and bass. This is obviously going to make it better. And then I'll show you that if you actually export something or something like that, and you look at the waveform again, you will see that there's like still issues. And hopefully that way I can train you guys to work in a certain way that you're not going to have that issues. At some point you just have to say, okay, my kick and bass is clean, it's finished. I'm not going to process it anymore. I'm not going to use any filters in the mastering. I'm just going to make it loud in the mastering with a limiter, compressor, clipper, limiter, that setup. And then you'll get clean kick and bass lines. I have a question, because you're talking about it now, how to make more alien/robotic vocals. Tried using a vocoder, but it's so hard to get it done. I would honestly advise using granular synthesis for vocals. If you want to like get those very stretchy alien kind of feelings, what you do is it's a combination of granular resynthesis. You use delays obviously, and then you can use pitch shifters or resonators. Resonators in Ableton is also a cool vocal effect because it does kind of the same thing as a vocoder, but it's easier to set up. So maybe play around with resonators. Cristiano, how are you doing? Spectral resonator is also pretty good in vocals, been using it a lot in chorus mode. There's another tip for you. Spectral resonator. Apparently in chorus mode it sounds very, very nice. We still have a lot more. Where were we? We were at... This, by the way, was River of Wisdom by Synetia. I'm butchering that. Synaptic Eclipse. Synaptic Eclipse. I'm so sorry, my English. Either way, all of these tracks that I'm playing are in the Discord. So if you like a particular track, then make sure that you go follow the artist that put it out. Either way, we're going to go on to Robot No Human, who I think... Here we have Hard as Fuck. Are those paid plugins? No, those are both effects within Ableton. The resonator is a normal effect, and this... Oh, this is also a normal effect. It's not even Max for Life effect. Yeah, both are normal effects from Ableton with the latest patch. I think this is Ableton 11.1 stuff, or 11. But resonators is also in older versions, even like Ableton Live 9, something like that. Reviewing tracks, projector, yes, exclamation point feedback if you want to join in. Finally, we have some bass from Robot. This is the appropriate amount of bass. Now we can also hear clear hi-hats, what that's going to do. Can still be brighter, these hi-hats. Especially now. Yeah, no. This is taking over too much. Very detailed sound design again. I really like it. No, Little Davius, don't encourage him to turn the bass down, because with the other two tracks that he submitted, we already heard the problem there. It does need to be brighter. I do agree with that. But I would tackle the mid-range. I would mid-range dip here around like this area here, and maybe a bit here, and then bump this up, have a little bit more focus in here. That's how I would tackle this. The level of the bass itself I like, because it's very clubby, very underground, and that's just bass all the way, right? I think that low, like slightly pitching pad that we hear, that low saw thing, is a bit too loud. I think that's the problem. It's again a very, very busy track. Portman, how are you doing? Welcome. Here it just becomes crazy. What the hell is happening at this point? It's getting too complex. And then the drop just kind of starts. Yeah, it's too complex now. It's not understandable by any listener. Baseline doing something else again, that saw thing. If you remove that low saw, just completely remove it from the track, I think it would be a better track. Because then you have more focus on your sub bass and all of the percussive kind of like mid-range elements. I would just completely remove the saw there and then focus on the mix. That's all you have to do, in my opinion. That's going to remove a bunch of the complexity from that break as well, where I said it was maybe a bit too complex. Again, very detailed track, very well done in terms of the sound design, but very much has still some mixing things to look into. And that one element that, to me, just kind of breaks the track. Because it's clearly like a low saw, and it's playing different keys all the time and stuff like that. And it's just very distracting from the elements that really matter, the elements that make you dance, which is the sub bass and all of your mid-range percussions and bleeps and bloops that you have going on. That's the interesting stuff about your track. Don't cover that up with this generic saw wave doing different key changes and stuff like that. That would be my tip for this track. Now we have F sharp 150 by Gar Hermes, or FG in the chat. Obviously a very creative name for a track, very much something that you can take inspiration from, and hopefully we will be able to see the F sharp 150 theme being reflected into the production. Okay, enough with the bullshit, let's have a listen. Hello? There it is. Very strange choice to bring in the sub bass and then remove it again and bring it in and bring it again. Or is this the whole kick and bass? You're missing some high end on your kick. And some mid-range. Missing this kind of like punchy area a little bit, maybe. Although it's not annoying me. What is annoying me is, again, your lack of use of the high end on your kick and your bass line. It seems to be coming very, very slowly. Almost like reverse vocals, that sound design. Very cool. Even though this is dark side, it should also be mixed brighter. Dark side doesn't really have to do with like the amount of brightness that you give it. Still, you can see here we should have a bump here for your hi-hats to kind of come through a bit more. Sidetrance is, in any form, a very bright sound because it has this, what I said before, the kind of double mountainous kind of spectrum to it. You can almost see it as like 3 hills and 2 valleys at around 500 and around 4 to 5,000. Yo, can I request my track's feedback? Is any genre of EDM okay? Of course, I'll listen to anything as long as it's fully licensed, as long as you have the copyrights to it. Yeah, if all well arranged, you can see the dips where you say projector. Yeah, no, it's the arrangement is okay. It's nothing to do with the arrangement. It has to do with the way that you're mixing things. Here the hi-hats are just not bright enough, so you're missing this kind of peak here. It is here, right? We can clearly see that it's like going down, back up again a little bit here. And then here it's just not continuing that final hop that you need. But the sound design and the arrangement as well works. And it's not going to hold all the time. If you have just your kick and bass, then obviously it's going to be a lot darker than if you have your kick and bass and all of your top loop. But if your top loop is there, then it should have the 3 things. Very trippy. Yeah, now here we should hear the top loop really becoming gritty, which it doesn't do. This is 150 BPM, F sharp. Mix can always be fixed, but who did this track? Hats off to that person. This FG or Gar Hemes in Discord, FG in the chat here. And yes, of course, the mix can be fixed. That's why we're doing this whole business. To help you guys fix the tracks that you have and prevent problems in the tracks that you have in the future. Nice hop of triplets there. DK. When the DJ plays, the balance of a mix can be adjusted. High EQ here, low EQ there. Question. And as we all have different speakers and listening room studios, the perfect mix is surely impossible. No, because there's general rules on how to translate your mix well. If you follow the standard structure, then it's going to just work. And then you relieve the DJ of having to do anything. Second thing is the console that you're talking about is very, very limited, right? You have a high band, but you cannot set the frequency of that high band. Does that high band boost at 5,000 hertz or at 12,000 hertz or at 17,000 hertz or at 40,000 hertz? Whatever the developers had set it to, right? And depending on the kind of curve that you use and the slope that you have, you're going to have different ways of EQing. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you follow the standard so that no EQing has to be done, so that you get guaranteed the highest quality high-end possible. Because you can only get so far with a master boost that can only be set to one frequency and can only be turned up or down without changing the slope, without changing what type of boosting you're doing. Is it a shelf? Is it a boost? None of that you have control over. So you want to do it yourself, because then you have a lot more control and then you get better results. Sorry, I have no outro. That's no problem. We liked it for as long as it went on. Now we have Bo with his track. And then we are through all of the tracks for now. It asked me to log in. I don't want to log in. Please go away. There's another track of almost 8 minutes. After that I'll do a quick break because it's been 2 hours. But let's have a listen. Here again, you can turn your vocals up 3-4 dB. This one is just completely covered up. You should be making space in your mix for your vocals to sit into, not layer them up with different elements like that. Changing everything you can hear, but then there's other parts that you just cannot hear. Where do I submit? ! Feedback will send you immediately to the right channel. Nice clean kick and bass. I love it. High end is lacking a little bit. A little bit stronger. I like your fills. I'm just not a fan of high passing every time. You don't have to do that for every section. It's much more effective if you high pass once or twice per drop and then really use that to build up the energy, add extra snares, stuff like that, like a real build up. Like this, right? Yeah, here you're using it to up the energy. I would only use it in those cases, not every section. All tracks passed the test, everyone was prepared except me. Do you not have a track? I like that you volume down a little bit for the kick when you're in the break. Not a lot of people do that, but I like the effectiveness of the extra punch that you get in the drop doing that. This sounds like it's from Geometry Dash. It does have a little bit of those kind of vibes into it. Not now, obviously. Here again, the vocals not coming through, your spoken vocals. Really good fill work. I really like the way that you're doing fills. But I think this track would be a lot more powerful if you didn't high pass the kick and bass so much. Like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think 10 times that you're going to high pass the track, which is too much. Okay, this is the track for now. I see that there's still more tracks posted. I will get to that after the break. Before I go into the break, I quickly want to show you guys what it actually means to have the correct amount of hi-hat. Because this is almost exactly on the spot, right? So let's ignore this EQ. This is going to be way too much. I need to turn this off. This off. And I'm just going to add EQ8 to this. I'll quickly do this with the EQ8, so it's not going to be like precise. But we should be able to get something like this. Hello? Listen to the difference, right? This is the original. This is the in-the-face kind of high-end feeling that you want. Right? So that's what we should be aiming for. The kind of brightness that sits on top, it really adds to the energy, but you don't want to overdo it. So if I were to go, it's now 211, if I were to go like this, here it becomes annoying. But just a little bit like this. If you're interested in high-end control, a plugin I cannot recommend enough is this one. It's called Lufticus. It's free, and the way that you use Lufticus is you set it to 40k, which shelves down into the audible frequencies, and then you boost using this. You can be fairly generous by this because it's at 40k. It's not like you're affecting directly the frequencies that you hear. But this is overall a very, very good high-end trick. I use this on almost all of my hi-hats in the mixing stage. And I still mix too dark as well myself. It's something that I need to train myself on as well. I'm somebody who mixes too dark still. And I've been correcting it in mastering and stuff like that. But generally speaking, you just want to nail it in the mix, right? The spectrum. You don't want to have to go in there and add another 2 dB or 3 dB to your high-end. That's too much during mastering. So fix your high-end. Make sure that your vocals are understandable by somebody else that has never heard the vocals before and need to be able to understand them in the mix. And then the third thing, oh yeah, you don't have to high pass your kick and bass for every section. It sounds a little bit like an overused trick, and it feels because if you have like a short fill like that, where you have your kick and bass roll up until the fill, and then have your fill and then go on, it maintains the energy more. Every time you high pass, what you're doing is you're showing to the listener that the energy level is going to change, that you're going to step on the gas, which you're not doing at the end of every section. There are sections that, from an energy perspective, have the same amount of energy, right, between the two. So you should only really high pass if you're going up in energy level or down in energy level. Anyway, I'm going to play one of my tracks. What should I play? Of course, none of this is mixed, so it's not going to be good examples of what I just talked about. I guess I'll play this one, because it's nice and long. No, this is the wrong one. The newer one should be this. Yes. This is a new version. As you can see, this is still in production phase, not mixed. I have some stuff peaking here. This is too quiet. This is just a production. I'll be right back. And now we can critique. That's the whole goal, yes. Also, if you want to critique something else, then in my general forum, there's a website that you can critique, can give feedback that I've been working on, my website. And in feedback, there's new thumbnails that I'm working on. So it's enough to critique if you want to. Not just the track. I'll be right back, guys. Just taking a quick break and then we'll continue.
It could be that the Big Bang was an interesting event, but not the first event in the totality of reality. It could have been the first event that sparked the expansion of our part of space. But it could be that there's a grander realm of space within which we sit as a small part, and that grander realm may have been here for a far longer period of time. It may have experienced its own Big Bangs, maybe a collection of Big Bangs that may extend infinitely far into the past.
I'm back. I'll let it play out. Could be the intro music for Lord of the Rings or something.
This is one of these interesting topics where a lot of times people ask
Oof, long intro. Yeah, this is set opener. Hence the long intro. The whole goal is that you would open a live set with this.
overwhelming evidence that the universe was once very small and very hot. That which is absolutely true.
I'm glad you guys are liking the song. It's obviously not finished yet. It's going to be a very big mix this. It's about 340 tracks now of different sounds, so that's going to be huge. There's still some production things that I need to do. It just kind of stops in a little bit.
And another option where the early universe underwent a period of rapid expansion and then different universes bubbled and nucleated off. So bubble.
I'm not a fan of that vocal either. I need to change that as well. Cool step sound or what for sound? I think it's a few layers, but yeah, it's essentially a stab. Let me just quickly pop up the Discord again so I can see how many submissions we have for feedback. We have still 3 more tracks to go to. I think I finished with Bo the last time. From which tracks the intro vocals are, isn't it Ghost in the Shell? I know for a fact that they're used in the Asterix track, but they're Bulgarian folk singing. But the exact same sample is used in Sahara, if I'm not mistaken. Or the other one that he made with Avalon, Valley of Steve. One or the other, I don't remember which one. Question, are you your worst critic? I hope so. I hope so, because then if I like my tracks, then everybody likes the tracks. I like Moonshine from Asterix. I can't agree more, it's a good track. Then again, Asterix makes a whole bunch of good tracks. Fairly long outro as well. Question, what's Asterix? If you don't know, and you're going to find out anyway, then there's a whole world that's going to open for you. Asterix is an artist who makes psytrance. I'm assuming that's a troll. I know that most people know him. It's not like he's the most popular one of the artists. I think here, Daydreaming is the next one. Yes, Hardwick, Daydreaming. Here we are. I turned off the... Sorry. In, off. There we are. Some classical stuff. I think the two things that you're doing are clashing with each other. There's no clear main line that we need to listen to. There's two melodies playing together, which obviously are like counter melodies, but usually the counter melody is mixed lower than the main melody. Where can I post for feedback? In feedback channel in Discord. There's a channel called Feedback on Stream. If you type !feedback, then you will be brought immediately to that right channel. It's a nice idea. The fucking Alchemy Discord collab thing, it's so loud. And it's autoplays. I hate autoplay. Is there a setting to turn it off? Just to not have it automatically play the next track in SoundCloud? Doesn't matter, let's just deal with that. Sorry if the vibe is a bit off, thought I'd share. No, it's a nice track, nice idea, as I said. But you have two main elements that are fighting for the same space. You want to turn that into one main element by making one a little bit louder than the other. So we concentrate on the melody line that you find most appropriate. I also like the very dark cover photo for it. It is completely out of theme for the actual track. Next up we have Mongo with Dissonance. And this is a Google Drive. Will it let me play it, or does it need to load for a while? Yeah. This is interesting. Yeah, as Klaus said. trying to find the best way to explain what I think is going on here with the mix. Because it's just this wall of sound that is coming to you. And I think it just has to do with the fact that these are all computer samples. Like this guitar it's so clear that it's like fake sounding. It sounds like plastic. It doesn't sound real to me. Okay. Here distorting. It's overall the track is just too loud for the kind of production that it is. It's distorting, it's gritty. This sounds a lot better than the distorted guitar. I don't like the distorted guitar with respect to this. Although this is very, very stereo. Can I send a 1 or 2 minute snippet or 2 shorts? You can send whatever you want. Kind of reverses in the middle. That's kind of strange. So this is definitely a track. There's some strange things going on. I don't understand exactly what the principle is by now reversing the guitar. I think it's finished now. At least it says another 20 seconds, but I'm assuming that it's silence. The first part just doesn't work for me. The balance is all off. That guitar is way too loud and compressed, and it's all loud and brutal and in your face. The samples that you use for the start are clearly like digital sounding. The kick doesn't sound good. The snare doesn't really sound good. And this is just all honesty, right? This is trying to be as honest as possible. I think the first part of the track just doesn't sound good. I'm going to be completely honest here. It's digital, plasticky sounding. If you're going to go for kind of a metal song, then I do believe that you get much better results by recording a guitar live, like it was meant to be, and then playing it through a real amplifier and recording that, like it was meant to be. I don't buy that these simulations kind of have the same quality. And I know for some people it's not accessible and you make do with what you have. But it's not resulting in tracks that I like, I'm gonna say. Maybe a little bit harsh on my part, and I'm sorry if it's coming over harsh, that's never the goal. But I'm telling you my honest opinion. The other two parts of the track though, I would take those and I would just write a new track around that. Because those sound really nice. apart from the little distortion that we had before. Challenge discussion. What else do you have? We have Fortman. Moth to a Flame PC. Oh, this is a remix. Do you have copyright for that remix? It's because it's by The Weeknd. I don't want to get copyright strikes, that kind of stuff. Yeah, Swedish House Mafia, The Weeknd, Moth to the Flame PNC remix. Nope, it's a bootleg. Well, then I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to be honest with you. I already get too many copyright strikes on my streams. I'm not going to give them any possibility to give me a fair copyright strike. Just not going to happen. Here we have VCV2, which he posted unfortunately in the wrong message before, but that's okay. This is VCV by Gar Hermes or FG in the chat. Let's have a listen to what this is. Fairly quiet, this one. Sorry about that, I didn't know. I'll try another one. Yeah, make an original track. No, not make an original track, but post an original track. I would transcade those vocals one more time. That it's clear that it's not speech, and then you don't have to push it up in a mix. Because otherwise you do. It does sound nice, like the kick fills in the end as well. Okay. We don't have any more submissions right now, so I'm gonna make another few kicks and then we'll get back into the channel. And then we'll look at some more of the submissions that we'll get. I'm probably going to do... How long have I been streaming? It's almost been 3 hours. Let's just say that I'll do another half an hour-ish. Oh, here we are. Fortman. Face the Danger. Here we have the copyright-free submissions, hopefully. Some house. Baseline is a big mess. We're missing some sidechaining. I'm scared now with the vocals if it's truly copyright free. Might be from one of those like a cappella packs. Vocals again can be louder. They're competing with other elements, they're not supported by the other elements. I don't know what is being sung right now, so the vocals are definitely being drowned out by the rest of the track. Your bass line lacks a lot of power, your kick lacks a lot of punch. I think your bass line lacks a lot of punch because there's no real mid-range in it, I think. It's just like a sub and then you have like a gritty, higher mid-range layer, but you're lacking like these harmonics here, 100 to like 250, the punch in your bass line. And it's kind of the same with the kick. The kick should really punch through a mix like this, but it doesn't. And the reason for that is you mix very, very loudly, and your leads are too loud. Sounds like there's some frequencies masking the vocals. Yes. You mix too loud for your main elements. Your kick, your bass and your vocals aren't coming through enough. Yeah, your sub bass is probably some rumbly mess. Looking at this and looking at this and looking at the waveform. And then suddenly we go to 1/8 notes. That's a strange decision.
Keep on climbing.
Strange choice to go to 8 notes there. Please don't autoplay, please don't autoplay. Okay, nice. Sounds like an MP3. I think we just established that all tracks on SoundCloud have the same compression as an MP3 file. There's more here. No. And I legally purchased. Nice. Okay, then I shouldn't have any. Hopefully, I shouldn't have any trouble. You'll see that I'm guaranteed to get a copyright claim on this stream in 2 hours after the stream is finished. I do have another snippet. Yes, I know. There's another experiment with square lead and bass. That is there. And then I think it is finished. Mix needs a little work in the low mids, but otherwise good production. Yes, yes. And your kick, I would look at your bass, what is going on with your sub bass, because there's a lot of it feels like you just have like a rumbling sub bass and not really like the psytrance sub bass that I'm hearing here as well. This definitely has like trance influences. Do you have any issue for copyrights on stream? Yes, every stream I do, I get a copyright strike. Like 100% of the streams that I do is copyright claim, not strike, claim, sorry. And then I have to dispute it, and then I send them a copy paste of the same email that I always paste in there, and then after 2 weeks they lift the claim. But they always claim automatically. Yes, 100%. They'll hear some bass line and then they'll claim it as a part of a track that is also just kick and bass that just happens to play very little percussions or something like that. And then it matches my production, because if you have a kick and bass and a kick and bass, they're the same thing. So copyright. That's the whole rationale behind it. I detect it sounds like that track, therefore copyright. But that makes no sense. You cannot copyright the idea of a kick and a rolling bass line. Just like you cannot copyright the idea of distorted guitar. You would undermine the whole genre of guitar music, of rock, heavy metal, hard rock, death metal. Everything would then fall suddenly under your copyright because you own the copyright to distorted guitar. So it's a real problem. I have literally every evening before I go to bed, after I stream, I will go online and I have to dispute another claim. Sometimes it's multiple, sometimes I'll get like 3 claims in one stream. But as I said, I just have a text file somewhere where I go, this is the X time that you guys have falsely claimed one of my production live streams as copyrighted material. It is clear that all of the things that I do on my live stream include producing, and I get I make the tracks myself, so obviously you guys cannot hold any rights over the music that you hear, and then they just lift it. Yes, every side track can get a copyright strike for kick and bass. So that's the problem. We have 2 more tracks, and then I think I'll end the stream because I do have to do work on the thumbnails. So we have side, Atmos, lead, square, chunky bass. Nice ambience already set up. Yeah, it's just a broken system. Completely. Getting some real roll drums. Nice. Very rhythmo kind of feeling. I like it. I like square bass. Well executed. Kick and bass is clean, by the way. Everybody noticed that? Very nice. Good balance as well, good high-end usage. Could be a tad bit more if you really wanted to, but we'll hear if it's... Yeah, now it could be a bit more, the high-end. And have like a little... Not like that, but obviously like this. There you could have a little bit of a fill. It remains a little bit stale at this point. I would love to hear a little bit more progression in this part. It's still an experiment and it's working well. But I feel like as a first drop it's a little bit too dependent on just having that one element playing, that ARP saw thing that started playing halfway through. We have one more track, Gar Hermes, and then I will finish up for today. We've done then 3 hours, which is good enough. This is, it's called Test. Again, very inspirational with the naming of his tracks. FG in chat again, so Gar Hermes, it's same as before with his magical names of F sharp 150 BPM. Now we have Test. Let's have a listen. I'm sorry that I'm roasting your names, but it's just funny to me that people name their tracks like that. Bit repetitive indeed, but nice framework. Yes, that's what I mean. Kick and bass looking clean. Good job. I wouldn't say that this is very much forced. It feels more like dark side still to me, if I had to classify it. It is a nice track, nice production. Oh. No. Too dark. You want to be up here. Again, today the feedback is really specific to one problem that we all somehow have. Now everybody's cleaning up their kicks and basses like from the last time. Hopefully next time I don't have to tell anybody anything about the volume and the brightness of their hi-hats. Nice. So that's the final track. Here, again, I'll let you guys listen to what it sounds like if you have proper high-end. Probably not like this. I'm probably going to... Do you see how it excites the track, how it makes it a lot nicer to listen to? Right? It's in your face, it's energetic, it's high power. Now this is sounding dull. Really powerful, really high energy, nice and gritty. And then you turn it off, go back to the original, and it's like, I'm sad, I'm dark. Even though it's like dark Psy, it doesn't mean that it needs to be proportionally dark mixed. You still want energy from the track. You just change up the sound design that you're applying. Yes, this much. Obviously I wouldn't do this like this on the master. This is just to correct. You would need to change the mix, and then you would see that you don't need these big, massive 13.3 dB boosts of the high end. Then you should be able to do it with volume boost and saturation and compression and all that stuff. I think when it comes to psytrance, the hi-hats is the hardest part of your track to nail properly. People talk a lot about their kick and bass, but I think hi-hats are like almost like slapped upon, right? You know, people don't really care about that. But the energy that you can bring to your track with properly training the high ends or properly handling the high ends, I think is much more worth it than spending that extra hour working on the fine details of your kick and bass. I know, controversial opinions only on this channel. But your kick and bass is not everything, as I've said many times before. Either way, I think I'm going to end the stream for now. I gave feedback to a lot of different ideas and a lot of different tracks. And I have to get back to working on thumbnails. If you guys want to contribute to what my thumbnails look like, you can give me feedback on the thumbnails here. These are all 6 templates that I'll be using for them. Please write anything down below here. If you want to help me improve my website, there's also a place for that. You can go in here, and then at the top you can see the post with what I'm asking from you guys. It would be nice if you could help me out with both of these things, especially this, because tomorrow I want to start making the first ones for the actual videos. So it would be nice if you guys could take a look at this for a little bit, say which ones you like, which ones you may think that the colors aren't good for, or that I need to change some stuff. All of that stuff. And if you have some extra time, please also take a look at my website and say what you think right down below here. Thank you guys all for passing by. I think we hit a new record of peak viewers at 24 today. So that's very nice. And all of the music was also very, very nice. But yeah. Next stream, I will be doing a mixing stream again to finish the mix that I started last week, which I wanted to do yesterday, but then I had the whole issue with the water being cut off. I will probably do that Thursday, maybe, but I'll post obviously when I'm going live. Other than that, I don't really have any other plans for the mid-week streams, but next Sunday is going to be challenge. And again, as always, I would still like to get samples for challenges. I'm still accepting samples for challenges. If you have an idea for a challenge that is easy to organize, then you can go stream discussion and we can discuss it right here. That's everything I needed to say. I think that's enough marketing for today. So thank you guys all for coming. Thank you guys for stopping by, and I hope to see you in the next one. See you guys.